My name is Inés, and I am a UN Foundation Next Generation Fellow. I was born in Peru, and I grew up there for 18 years, but since then I've not been in my country for more than 6 months because I've been enjoying the world and the people in it. I've lived in Japan, Lebanon, Sierra Leone, Canada, France, partly the UK, and now I'm in the US for most of my year. And that's really opened my eyes to the world and to how other people live and experience things and have different views of humanity. And that's also what I love about my job, is being able to speak with many different people about many different things and be constantly learning. So a bit about me is that I like to learn, I guess, because that's what my life journey has been so far. I find hope in my role every day and the role of everyone around me that's achieving the SDGs, because I see action all the time. I think when the SDGs are abstract is when we lose that hope, and when multilateralism is just a concept and it's not the conversations that we're having or the people that we're meeting or the action that we're seeing, that's when the hope is lost. But in my job every day, I get to see young people taking action. I get to see decision makers taking action, or sometimes listening to what young people are saying should be done. And that's what gives me hope, is seeing the small steps that we're taking every day. And I don't think I could do my job without that hope. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth it, right? But I hope that it will get better even more every day. The SDGs, I think we need rescuing more than the SDGs. I think the SDGs are somehow rescuing us. Because if we achieve a world without poverty, then we're rescuing all those people who are currently living in extreme poverty. Or if we achieve a world without climate change, then we're rescuing all the future climate refugees and people who are suffering from those impacts. And same for gender equality, same for all the other SDGs. So although we say, or we have been saying, and the UN space has been saying, we need to rescue the SDGs, I think if we don't work on them, we're going to be the ones that need rescuing. And that's what we don't want to happen. The SDGs are sometimes called the global goals, and multilateralism is the global effort to achieve a world that is more just and fair and sustainable. And so they're important for multilateralism because they're what brings us together to make sure that everyone is on the same level playing field and that no one is left behind, which is also a term that is used a lot in this space. And I think they have brought the world together in focusing on issues that everyone has in common. We all want access to water, we all want education, we all want to be partners with others to achieve common goals. And so each of the SDGs has managed to capture that, and the multilateral space is what managed to make the SDGs come to life. And that's why it's important for the multilateral space to keep believing in the SDGs. I think once there's interest in making a positive impact, then that's the first right step. And the advice I have is to follow that. It's an instinct. The reason you want to do it is probably because you should do it. And so having that impact doesn't have to be in everything. Many times we see the people that we see on the screens, or even people seeing me right now, maybe thinking like, oh my gosh, I wish I was interviewed or doing that video. They don't see the whole backstory. They don't see the 12 years of activism before reaching to this point. It didn't start with an interview. It started with picking up plastic on a beach and then seeing that impact in my country 7 years later. It started with putting a nail in a house in a shanty town in Peru, and no one's seeing that effort other than the family and the impact that I'd made. And so for anyone who wants to start, don't look at someone else's 12 years down the line journey. Look at yours and how it's starting now, and someday that impact will be even bigger than you could ever have dreamed of. Leveraging the UN system is also thinking about reimagining the UN system and making sure it includes all the voices that haven't so far been included. The UN system is one which is hard to get into, and once you get into it, it's somehow easier and you start getting invited to more new things, but that first step in is hard. And so changing that and making the UN a space for people and not so much for suits or age or labels, I think is how SDG Summit, COP28 or any other processes will be a success. We're currently in a lot of silos, and even now we have summits that are just for young people or moments that are just for a particular group of people, and then that means we're not talking to each other. The UN system was created, and I think it's still the best system we have to achieve our common goals as humanity. But that was 75 years ago. And so how can we make sure that it responds to today is thinking about the people of today and how a lot of the people of today don't have that access that many of us here today do. And so reimagining the system where people are passionate about the UN and it's not the UN passionate about its own role, but everyone taking that upon themselves.
My name is Inés, and I am a UN Foundation Next Generation Fellow. I am tackling multilateralism. Let's unlock the future together.